السلام عليكم Professor.
Assalamu warahmatullah. How are you, everyone?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I like your tie.
Alhamdulillah. Mr. Muhammad, how are you today?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All is well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I can see Mr. Ahmed is available with us now. Rahman, Mr. Rahman, Mr. Faisal, Mr. Abdullah, and Mr. Ala Ali. Okay, so we have to start now in this afternoon. We have to complete our last session for the anti-money laundering procedures, and we will share together the slides. So the last issue we discussed last session, which is something regarding how can we enhance our capabilities and forensic skepticism, and we will have another session regarding to the forensic skills for auditors in order to catch or to raise our responsibility against any kind of fraud challenges and analysis. One of the most challenging issues, which is the anti-money laundering or money laundering and all of those crimes. And we take already take last time the case study, just only one case study regarding to the customer due diligence. How can we assign the red flags for this type of crimes? Now we will start talking about how can we take the resilience issues in auditing work resilience. One of the most important parts we need to highlight is once the epidemic has been transmitted to be global geographical pandemic of post-COVID-19 and name it as a new financial crimes based on the healthcare or well-being restriction and new restriction and requirements for well-being, we found that there is a lots of issue has been created the new norm. This new norm have a lots of restriction regarding traveling, mobility from one country to another. So from the pace or the sake of auditing work, we face a lot of challenge in collecting sufficient and appropriateness of evidence which affect our auditing work and auditing quality conducted services. This will highlight lots of issues regarding to collecting data and evidence and collect lots of issues to enhance our sufficiency to make a good report. For example, the inventory, word count, committees, attendance physically. It's no longer available. If we have multinational companies all over the world, it will be a little bit harder, especially for internal audits, to make a live report or up-to-date reporting issues directed to the top management. Another thing, how can we make sure that everything is okay regarding to the materiality issues, going concern, as long as we did not have any physical link or physical attendance to make sure that everything regarding to the going concern and materiality financial statement, especially to make sure that the cash flow is okay and the liquidity, to avoid any future bankruptcy issues or solvency risk. So it's a little bit harder than before. So what is the alternative way for this new norm? This new norm has created also a new cybercrime which is called the cybersecurity issues, which has been increased. So the international Interpol communication highlighted a lot of issues regarding to the cyber safety checklist for your remotely working environment or remote auditing environment. So we need to make sure that the cybersecurity issues is checklist has been highlighted in your work to back up some issues
Mr.
regarding.
Tariq, can I just make
Yeah,
a request? Is it possible for you to make your presentation in presentation mode so that it can come to on the full screen, please?
of course. Thank you. Thank you for the. Is that okay now?
I think if you press the presentation link at the bottom, if you go bottom, where right at the bottom of the screen, you have next to the volume screen, the button, if you press that. Sorry, not the volume, the size of the presentation. If you go at the bottom, right at the bottom.
Yes, yes. You need the presentation show, the slideshow.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just go right at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So the cybersecurity safety checklist has been highlighted by the Interpol in order to avoid sharing secured information with unsecured Wi-Fi. So you have to make sure that the cybersecurity issues has been checked and you are in a safe place to share more important and informal information regarding to that. Why we have to highlight this issue? Because in the pandemic, once it became a worldwide pandemic, there is another crisis has been made recently, which is the cybersecurity and a crisis attack. Around more than 3,080 or 30,000% increasing in phishing websites and malware targeting remote users. One of those remote users are the auditors. Around more than 30,000% of the information for the customer has been shared remotely in order to have a sufficient and appropriateness evidence. And those type of evidence has been shared in the cloud or online through distance auditing or remote auditing procedures. This remote auditing procedure highlighted there is a significant rate of risk has been attacked the auditing work from the 20th of March 2020 to the 20th of April. The around 380,000% has been considered as an increase in cybersecurity risk. So this is another risk has been highlighted in these issues in post-COVID-19 or during and post-COVID-19. We can say that a lots of auditing work has been shared automatically and remotely through the team conference, video conferences, and there is a data protection issues and privacy for the customers. So you should have a great profile regarding how can you handle your auditing process through remotely working environment or virtual auditing procedures, and to make sure that everything is okay and very safe regarding to sharing some important data of the customer on the worldwide internet. So you have to make sure that everything has been shared through what's so-called digital KPIs of doing auditing work through remotely working environment. This is another point. That's why in the cyber safety and checklist, the Interpol used the concept of wash your cybersecurity hand as an auditor to handle your own sufficiency and appropriateness data collection or evidence gathering once you use the remote working environment. That will give the customer more secure auditing procedures once they have the engagement contract with your office. So you have to make sure that you satisfy the customer from this point of view, which is the cyber safety and security issues, because a lot of manufacturing and service industry, they need to make sure that everything is okay regarding to the top secret information regarding to their work and their financial statements and cash flow statements in particular. So the prevent is the vaccine, but in the cybersecurity issues, we have to make sure that we have preventive control in the international computers or the internet that used to make team or Microsoft Team and digital communication issues, sharing video conferences, make everything is okay regarding to the sharing information through video conferences or image sharing using financial statements through the internet. So we have to detect the pandemic through PCR test. But you should have internet which is more secured using NPAD and SIEM and data lake, and you have to use a disk operating system based on Linux or ISO operating system, which is against digital fraud and which using in digital forensic issues. Response track, quarantine, and SOAR in the cyber crisis issues. We have to predict how good the hygiene practices for the pandemic, but the cyber crisis, we have to make treat intel information sharing and image sharing, computer sharing, make sure that everything is okay regarding to using the cybersecurity channels or using remote auditing. So you should have your own profile shared with your customer regarding to how we should continue monitoring your work through alternative way of doing face-to-face job. So based on the auditing objectives, you have to put that our own auditing work is mainly about continuous monitoring process. We start our auditing process not to stop it or resign or to handle something suddenly ineffective, but we have to continue our work during the fluctuation of the restriction of mobility, and we can make an alternative way using digitization or using online virtual communication through safe and secure channels using video conferences in order to get more written evidence from the customer regarding to every single meeting, and make sure that everything is okay regarding to sharing the information through your safe website and Wi-Fi. So the cybersecurity risk due to the current situation, as we say that we can say that during February to 20th of February till the March and April 2020, there is an increase, massive increase of cybersecurity attack. Make a lot of privacy has been broken down, and all the data has been shared through unsecured. Maybe will open the gate for a new digital financial anti-money laundering issues, and they will use this protection, data protection issues, in order to compromise the customer through giving them this security financial statements, which has been shared online with unsecured Wi-Fi. So the cybersecurity network, we have to make sure that everything stay alert on internal emails. Make sure that the internal email has been secured. Don't open an email. Follow the checklist and make your followers or auditors and auditors group. Make sure don't open any email which is very strange. This strange email may be considered as a cyber attack issues. Get authorized for all the disk operating system. Try to have a computer using Linux more than Windows 10, which is easily to be attacked, and it does need more security and lifeguard software to make sure that everything is okay with using this information remotely. Do not leave your computer unlocked when attended. Managing social media profiles. Try to not to use WhatsApp, Facebook in your working laptop, official one, because there's lots of gates and holes they can make a lot of cybersecurity attack and hackers using the Microsoft system or disk operating system through social media website, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, especially the WhatsApp. Back up your data regularly and security. You own it and check privacy every single time. Strengthen your home network where you work remotely in case there is a lot of restriction to go to your office or on-site office work, auditing work. Try to make sure that everything is okay regarding to your home network and use the cybersecurity attack or checklist effectively. Avoid opening attachment links on phishing email. Restart your computer in case you have something to affect the whitening and the strengths of your computer. Use strong password rather than easy one. This is something has been shared by Interpol, especially after the pandemic and travel restriction. The COVID-19 pandemic and the ripple effect has been attacked the asset impairment because it does need physical attendance, inventory account committee, which avoid any physical attendance. So you have to have your profile filling all of those points. How can we do our own work using an alternative way, which is something regarding to the digital auditing process as an alternative way from the traditional one, in case there is a lots of travel restriction or lockdown. Because the lockdown is not considering a close down in auditing work. So this is your mission, this is your imagination, reimagination. How can you run your own auditing office through the fluctuation of restriction in the future time? The issues regarding to the revenues, going concern, financial instrument, debts, and litigation and construction defects, presentation and unexpected items, accounting for shutdown costs, and what are the insurance and reinsuring claims, nuance contracts and foreign exchange differences. So our imagination for auditing office in the future time, we have to move from the traditional bloody ocean to the blue ocean strategy, where you can able to find a new way to run your business in such a more secure, more attractive for the customer, more market share and market growth in the future. So you have to do your work as a star. In the future time, it will be considered as a star. Otherwise, if we follow the traditional way of running our business as a small and medium business, the future time will not be considered as an effective work for running the job, because the digitization issues will replace the traditional auditing work, because the artificial intelligence and robotic audit process could replace the repeated and structured auditing process, like collecting data, make sure the inventory count is committee in the right issues. Also, the artificial intelligence can make sure that the going concern assumption is going in the right place. So based on that, you have to make sure that you find a place for running your auditing job in the future time. So if you read the book, which is the Blue Ocean Strategy, moving from the bloody ocean containing lots of competitors and rivals doing the same traditional work, and move to the Blue Ocean Strategy, where you can have your imagination for a new job. How can you run your own office by using a new technology, a new alternative way to running the job during this fluctuation, closing down and opening the business and closing down again in the future time. And that will take, by the way, will take a longer time till 2025 at least, for that as a new norm. How can we move from this traditional way of running the business, which is delay more, or maybe you can delay your auditing process and auditing data and evidence gathering, and make your auditing appropriateness of evidence is not as good as they could expect as a high quality of services, conducted services. So you have to move in the blue ocean by using more alternative and more attractive, innovative way of running your own business. Some of the common issues regarding to the auditing techniques in the uncertainty environment. This uncertainty environment, we can use another alternative way and terminology called turbulent environment. What do you mean by turbulent environment? Turbulent environment is where we did not have any information about the future. If we are working in a risky environment, we have probabilities for the level of risk we can face in the future time. However, in the turbulent and uncertainty, we did not have even any information to what extent will continue in this crisis, when it will end it, and is that any other transition and another version of COVID-19 will raise in the future time. We can know if we look at the CNN and all the international news and talk show, we didn't have any clear information about the future. So we are now in the uncertainty. What type of techniques can the audit office or auditors could use in order to overcome the uncertainty and work in such a blue ocean strategy? Number one, and during the financial crisis affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, we have to resolve and to make a resilience issues. So address near-term cash management. We have to look at the cash management, and also the customer for any investment option. They look at to what extent there is a liquidity and safety level of liquidity and cash flow for this company in order to invest our money in. This is the first place, the first question they can ask. And also you have to ask about going concern issues and materiality, to what extent the materiality has been reflected, the going concern assumption in the near future, which is talking about the cash and spend management. This should be studied and checked January 2020 for the new engagement contracts. However, now we have to make sure that we have already returned to work, and the business has been returned back to a new norm, not the previous norm, but a new norm. Now your job is how can you reimagine your work in this blue ocean strategy, reimagine the new norm issues, what discontinuous shift look like, and implementation or implication for how the institution should reinvent What's the new alternative way of running a business? How can you make your auditing process more continuous in terms of monitoring? Monitoring or continuous monitoring, this is your new objective. You start your own engagement contract not to resign at any time during this journey, but your journey of auditing process or services should continue as a continuous monitoring process. Then, what are the new form? I think this stage could start on the second quarter of 2022. Be clear about how regularity and competitive environment in your industry may shift to. There's a lots of changes may happen in the future time. In the next 6 months, there is some new changes in the technology of running the auditing process. The technology used in order to enhance robotic auditing process. Robotic auditing process coming from the Ministry of Artificial Intelligence. How can we enhance digital twins by the external audit, moving from internal auditing and internal control auditing to external control office as well? How can you run your business through more effective and lifetime reporting to the Ministry of Economy and the customer and all the regulatory environment. One of those regulatory monitoring is the value-added tax authority, as well as one of the new monitoring authorities in the UAE economic regulation environment. So the reform should start in the next year. Once we have a new issues regarding to the auditing and reporting process. But now you have to reimagine your work. What is the shape? Where is the place I need to be in the future time? What type of auditing process and auditing or monitoring issues we need to deliver to the customer? Not what type of consultancy. The consultancy is the same, but how can we do that? How can we do our consultancy? How can we get in touch with the customer through knowing the customer very well? Make sure that the customer act like we could expect to act, using your own digital forensic skills in order to make sure that everything is okay regarding to the customer. Make sure that you use the questions that you need to ask very well, because this is your own job. More details and more issues regarding to how can we run the inventory word count, or what type of data we can collect, how can we do that, or how can we make data analytics. All of those issues will be considered to be run automatically or through digital robotic process. So the digital audit robotic process using the auditing services will highlight all of those points, and we will run all of those details. But your job as a consultant is how can we use our forensic skepticism in order to make sure that the KYC, knowing the customer very well, and to what extent this type of contract or this contract engagement process is handling in the right place, so we can wash my hand from any bad effect may happen by using this customer engagement issues, and make sure that you deliver a high quality contact service in the second hand. So the impact of post-COVID-19, we have to revisit the risk assessment issues again, update yourself with the revised International Financial Reporting Standard and International Standard Accounting Codes. Make sure that the materiality has been changed, and regarding to the new type of risk, and also the new objectives of auditing process. So this is the new issues should act as long as you are dealing with an existing customer or with a new customer. So make sure that you revisit the type of risk, because the customer name is the same, but the customer behavior may be changed in the future. So you have to change the materiality, going concern, communication, and type of evidence that you have already collected or you intend to collect in the future time. The going concern, make sure that you use the going concern in the short term and in the long term as well. To what extent? Going concern in the short, maybe in the long term, they have a great idea and plan and strategic scenarios. However, in the short term, they didn't have enough issues regarding to the spend management and cash flow. Which may affect the long-term going concern. So the going concern post-COVID-19 should have a lot of issues regarding to the procedures and the day-to-day life in paying for the short-term liabilities, wages, salaries, credit cards, in order to continue in the future going concern issues regarding to the strategy and plan scenarios for the future time. What is the post subsequent event, and you can use alternative way to determine or to forecast the subsequent event, which is may happen before issuing the new financial statements and after and soon after giving your opinion. So that you can use artificial intelligence to make sure that the forecasting procedures could meet the expected future and subsequent event. So this type of small details could use the artificial intelligence for the forecasting issues in order to make sure that this number with this quantity and this quality will not be changed or change it after the future time, or issuing your own report. And make sure that in the future time regarding to a lots of control variables which affect your opinion and the numbers and the number of assets will not be changed in the future time. So author or auditors report should also be creative and innovative regarding to all of those materiality, going concern, assumptions, and a lot of communication. Make sure that you have already recorded every single meeting in the video conference with the management, with the top management, with the CEO, inform them about a lots of issues, and make sure that you have already collected a lots of written representation, which you consider as a documentation that you have already passed all the information through the video conference or alternative way of doing your own communication. Group audit issues, and make sure that you have already updated yourself with the recent international financial reporting standard regarding to all of those. Risk management, understand the impact of post-COVID-19 and the new normal on the client's business and operation, financial and internal control. Communication, determine the strategy for communication with the client and client team. The materiality, consider the appropriateness of materiality based on the risk management revisit or scenario framework. Based on that, you will have to raise up or down the materiality issues and make sure that this materiality could consider the new risk reinvent. Resource and supervision, consider allocating more experienced resource of understand and to understand and implicate of COVID-19 on audit company, perform alternative procedures. Look at the word alternative. What is the new imagination for your alternative procedures in order to do your continuous monitoring process? Consider the auditing is not just only give a report, it's a continuous monitoring process in the future time, because you are the representative of the Value Added Tax Authority and the Ministry of Economy, and you are working with them in the first place during your own job of your QIC. Consider providing more supervision and holding brainstorming session through online or physically with the team as well. Try to use a more sufficient and safety devices with your team. Make sure that everything is secured regarding to the cybersecurity issues. So you have a lots of issues to consider before you deliver your own job effectively. The evidence, audit evidence, which should consider the implication of various factors, assessing client record, and there is up to date every single 14 minutes. Worldwide information through the Interpol will update update the worldwide auditors and authority all over the world with the clients all over the world every single 14 minutes. They use data base all over the world. Make sure that you have assessing every single time the client record, and this is one of your responsibility because you register in the Go anti-money laundering procedures issues. Understand and testing internal control most of the time. Make sure that internal control procedures is in a good shape and a good place and in a good procedures. They give you a good alert about anything which is affect your procedures, performing physical inventory count, or search for an alternative way to collect all of those information. Circulate external information. What do you mean by circulate? Circulate internal. It's not cycling. It's not something regarding to get rid of the waste. Sometimes the waste could add more information to the procedures. That's why we have to use the word circulate. Circulate to close the loop. There is no cycling. There is no issues we will get rid of. All the information are very useful. Maybe not at the time being, but in the future time. That's why circulating the information, closing the loop, and make sure that you could use the waste of information as a new technique for the future time. Assessing the going concern in the first place, shorter time, to what extent the company could go as considered as a going concern company in the short time and the middle time and in the future time. Even your contract is just only 1 year, but you have to deliver something regarding to the future issues. Maybe today it's okay because you have already collected capital returns from selling assets or whatever, but in the future time, maybe there is some resilience and what's called solvency and financial difficulties would lead to bankruptcy issues. And also you have to make sure that during the short time and the future time, there is something regarding to forecasting the bankruptcy power or the bankruptcy issues of the company. Make sure that the bankruptcy, some listed company in the stock market could face in the bankruptcy issues, but it's a matter of time, just only 22 days, 36 days, and they will announce protection from the creditors by announcing the bankruptcy issues. Obtaining specific management representation through online or face-to-face or physical issues, but make sure that the video conference is recorded most of the time. This is one of the digital KPIs to record the meeting. Make sure that you have internet, which is more stable for the future time. Make sure that you have a good issues regarding to telecommunication infrastructure, which affect your working remotely or working online, not to cut the communication, because sometimes the customer could consider that you hide something from sharing through online issues. So try to obtain specific management restriction through stability of the internet. Performing subsequent event protection by using forecasting regarding to what we have already based on our information through our opinion, and to what extent this sensitivity of this opinion may change in the future time in terms of quantity and quality and the sources as well in the future time to create subsequent events. And that it does need more forecast regarding to forecasting regarding to the future events. Going concern, consider the company ability to continue as a going concern based on all variables or available or not available information as well. So you have to create your own imagination for how can we get some information regarding to the KYC procedures, which is not available with the rivals or with the competitors. So that will give you competitive advantages power for your office. How can you collect information regarding to the going concern issues to protect your reputation risk, to protect your name, to protect also the customer and the government. Because you are responsible for all of those issues, including the management prepared forecasting issues, timeline, consider the communication, the need for additional time due to practical construction. So try to make sure that the scheduling issues are running effectively. Subsequent event and reporting issue, consider the implication of inability to perform audit procedures. So you need to work more stable and more confident during the uncertainty, because the uncertainty is the only certainty of the future and the present time. So regarding to this point, we need to share with you something regarding to the traditional way of proceeding and the implementation of the future auditing process. How can we handle the future auditing process? How can we handle the going concern, engagement contracts, subsequent event, type of materiality that we will use before we sign the contract with the customer. The traditional waterfall procedures is starting with deciding the scope and limitation from the first time and then sign the contract. And we expected that we have a stability of the future economy and the uncertainties not exist unless we should have some expectation about the risk issues, and this type of risk issues could be determined by the optimistic and pessimistic and normal cases, which are the three main probabilities. However, in post-COVID-19, there is another way. We have to change the traditional way of doing the auditing job from waterfall, deciding the scope in the first place, put the plan, and we are a plan-driven auditing office. We have to decide what type of the schedule, maybe something wrong happened, and we have to take or postpone some procedures, and based on that we will decide type of cost that we have, but we have to decide the scope in the first place, and this is called plan-driven approach. Make the constraints first and then make the estimation. However, if we need to predict and to protect and proact the future, we have to go upside down this pyramid. So we have to be more agile, deciding what type of scheduling may happen in the future, because the uncertainty is the only certainty in the auditing ecosystem approach. And then we have to decide what type of materiality we have to gain. How can we fix the auditing objectives based on alternative way of the data protection, cybersecurity issues, and communication, alternative communication, the alternative or digital way of the evidence collection. and gathering the evidence, what type of procedures we have to do as an alternative way, what type of communication, alternative communication we can communicate with the management or top management during the lockdown, because the lockdown is not a closing down. There is our mission is something regarding to continuous monitoring process. There is an unlimited services, high quality during the uncertainty. Then what type of cost? Then we have to have a vision-driven approach or value chain and captured approach, which add value to our name as a reputation issue, and also compliance regarding to the governance and Ministry of Economy, and also put the customer in a safer place from our hand and from his side as well. So make a safety distance between you and the customer to protect the customer and protect yourself from any abnormal behavior could be made in the future time. And also make sure that the cybersecurity issues is in a safer place. So you have to be more agile rather than waterfall. You have to be vision-driven rather than plan-driven approach. At the end of all of those study and analysis, try to decide the scope and limitation. After that, you sign this type of contract. After, see the vision. What is the vision? If you look at the vision, you can expect where the drop down, where the lockdown, and where the postponing issues and the delaying in auditing procedures. So, and try to make a physical or virtual meeting with the customer before we decide the scope. So that will consider how faster you will be. At the waterfall, you have to decide what are the requirements, and this is before COVID-19. Before COVID-19 pandemic, and this pandemic not only changed the way you protect yourself, but the way you protect your market, your office, your job, and your talent. Don't wait till you have the requirements to study the customer and to analyze, then decide or redesign the process, construction, testing, and then managing. That will take a longer time. You have to be more faster, more flexible, and also more adaptable. So you can predict the risk and prepare for the best solution before you start. So in other words, I'm asking you to be more agile, define, build the solution, and release. That will give you live report, day-to-day report, update your information, expect the risk, prepare for it, and don't wait till you have a reaction. You have to predict and then protect and proact. Then that could be the new imagination for the future time. You are running your process from flexibility, adaptability, agility, and also more competitive to the future. Otherwise, the auditing service will diminish, will decline for the future time. So we can replace it by robotic issues and robotic procedures who can predict the risk and predict the solution and can give you an alternative way of running everything through drones, through lots of issues. It will be more cheaper, economic, and more accurate, because we were not able to wait till something wrong and then we will ask what is the solution from the auditing point of view. We have to have a lifetime auditing procedures. Make sure that everything is okay regarding to this point. Reimagine your work. This is the traditional way: planning, field work, review, end of project reporting. But backlogs and the agility, audit agility, sprints, more faster, quicker, adaptable, and also iterative report, live reporting, day-to-day reporting issues. We are lucky that we are here in the UAE, that the UN Index of Electronic Government and Survey decided that in 2020, UAE in the first very high index of electronic government all over the world, more than UK and Saudi Arabia and India. So we have telecommunication infrastructure which leads you to update your digital profile for your own office, working here in Dubai, working here in the UAE in general. So the telecommunication infrastructure is the first in the world, 0.93, comparing with 0.91 in the UK and 0.84 in Saudi Arabia and India, 0.35. That will give you more option to use alternative way of running your audit office, and will give you the people who are living in GCC country more adaptability to run what's so called cryptocurrencies investment here in the worldwide. We will share with you now again. Also, the United Arab Emirates, in terms of fixed broadband subscription per 100 inhabitants, 31, compared with 39 and 33 in United States of America. So in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, the active mobile broadband available with you every time, 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So this is the computer power and the sourcing of internet sourcing more power, more accurate, because we have here telecommunication industry more secured as well. So you can shape your imagination of your future auditing job using all of those advantages and enhance the controlling, monitoring issues in the future time. Regarding to the any question regarding to this part, if you want to share any ideas, if you want to have any issues regarding to the what we have explained in the new issues and new agility of future auditing work. Any ideas, any questions before we start moving to the another part here? Okay. Yes. Okay. So we will continue for 15 minutes and then we will take a break. But after 15 minutes from now. The cryptocurrency holding companies. Some facts regarding to the cryptocurrencies in the GCC country and the UAE. Why has this type of products, digital product, has been rejected all over the world, but has been accepted in lots of people here in the GCC country? I want to share with you this article, which has been published in 2020 regarding to the cryptocurrencies in the GCC country. cryptocurrency in the GCC economy. We need to have the background about why we have to take this topic as an issue in auditing changes in from digital platform. Cryptocurrency in the GCC country. They share some information regarding to the people who are using the cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency, especially the Bitcoin, was the first famous cryptocurrencies in the whole of the world, and the number of people who are dealing with this type of the digital assets exceeded the depositors of banks in GCC, in main banks in the GCC country. So the money deposited in the banks is less than the investment of cryptocurrencies in the GCC countries. And they use this information about a survey has been conducted in the GCC country and collect ideas from those people. What's your age? And more of the people who are using the cryptocurrencies, more of those people are their age more than 30, and the male more encouraged to invest their money in the cryptocurrency than the female. So the what's your annual income level? They said more than $15,000 a year, or more than that. 38% are the investors. Something which is has been new for me to know is the full-time employees in the GCC countries invest their money by 70%. 70% of those people they invest who are investing their money in the cryptocurrency are full-time job, because they satisfy their day-to-day life by the future income. They have a full-time job, but they invest their wealth in the cryptocurrency, 70%. How many years of investment experience do you have in the cryptocurrency? More than 3 years only. And have you ever heard about Bitcoin, Litecoin, or other cryptocurrencies? Yes, they have a great information about the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular. So 83% or more than 83%, they have a lot of information about the cryptocurrency. So it's a significant number of people who need to invest their money in this type of environment. How or have you invested in a startup before? 60% they say no, we did not have any idea about the investment, and this is my first. So they go as a gambling issues in investment. So another information about, have you ever made a Bitcoin pays investment before? They said no. And also, do you feel like you have a clear understanding of the risk involved with the Bitcoin investment? No, they didn't have any idea about the risk. So they go gambling, they satisfy their day-to-day needs by full-time job, and they invest what they have already exceeded. So they didn't have any clear information about this cryptocurrency. And also, this is an increasing number of investment, an increasing number of Bitcoin trading issues, started from 3,000 in just only 2 years, reached more than $46,000. So this is an issue we need to highlight through the auditing job and auditing role. Here we need to discuss what is the cryptocurrency issues, and is it a coin or a money or cash or near financial or semi-financial money? It's not a money, it's a coin. And the coin is different than the money. Coin used as a cryptocurrency and the use of code or coding issues to secure communication, to control the security and creation of this coin, which lead to the term of cryptography and cryptocurrencies and considered as a digital assets. But from our point of view as an auditors, how can we deal with this type of assets, which is digital assets, not cash, but it's also we can consider as an asset, because a great deal or greating number of people invest their money, and we may face lots of people who are invest their money in some companies. How can we consider this assets as an assets or fixed intangible assets or inventory or cash money? What are the financial issues we have to deal with in this? And we have cryptocurrency and what's so called token. The token is the smart contract about summarizing all the terms and conditions through algebraic and financial and mathematical issues which handle the contracts and terms of dealing with the Bitcoin. So each Bitcoin has a token, and each token has a smart contract to decide how can we deal with and trade the Bitcoin. So the cryptocurrency is a unit of value that is native to blockchain, and this is called blockchain 1. So the blockchain 1 is the technology which create a protocol called coins. So each blockchain should have a coin, and this coin trusted by all the members in the blockchain. And it's a mean of exchange. However, it's not acceptable worldwide, so it's not a cash. So the cash is a mean of exchange and a source of money, so we could accept it and change it with real products and services. Blockchain to incentivize the network of principle to use the blockchain. So blockchain 1 is the protocol of Bitcoin, and blockchain 2 is the token, which is the smart contract. Blockchain 3 is the business model. We can use a token, a smart contract, and a coin, which is the cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter. The cryptocurrency, it's whatever, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. In real estate, we can use cryptocurrency or a protocol called Ethereum. In trading issues, we will use the Bitcoin. In another issue, we'll use another Bitcoin. We can use G coin as a government coin in order to handle the electronic government services. So we have a smart cities called governmental blockchain containing a accepted protocol called G coin, which is the governmental coin. We can generate it by using Gulf governmental sharing coin between the GCC countries called GG coin. And this is a new project to handle all of those customs, taxation, payment, proactive payment, and digital payment with the whole countries or the 6 states of GCC countries. The sole purpose of the cryptocurrency is for exchange only in the first place. We create Bitcoin in order to change. And we have a token or a smart contract to decide the price and the way we sell and the terms and condition we buy and the terms and condition of we sell. All of those issues in order to eliminate what's so-called intermediaries, which is create the centralized relationship between buyer and seller. If there is no centralized issues, it does mean a decentralized approach. You can sell straight away without any central bank or central unit, and you can buy straight away once you accept and join and pay. A token is a piece of business logic. Once we talk about the logic, it is law and regulation, terms and condition of a smart contract. If A equal B, so you can sell it. If B equals C, so you can buy. So there is some logic issues based on mathematical equation and rules and regulation to decide the smart contract in order to reveal the existence of intermediaries or central unit between one peer and another peer. It will be peer-to-peer communication without any centralized unit. So there is no courts There is no lawyers, there's no auditors, so it's a direct relationship between with zero time and zero cost, coded into the existing blockchain. So first of all, we should have a technology called blockchain and protocol called Bitcoin and logic process called smart contract. This is, we'll consider the decentralized ecosystem which creates smart contract, smart payment, smart value added tax without any centralized unit. So the token meets the definition of financial abilities to apply the guidance in International Financial Reporting Standard number 9, the financial abilities. So in terms of the definition of smart contract, it does meet the concept of IFRS number 9. The token meets the definition of equity infrastructures, which is IAS number 32 as a guidance for the auditors. The prepayment of goods and services from the contract with a customer, it's International Financial Reporting Standard number 15. So applying the guidance for that, and also does the ICO token as a cryptocurrency issues not meet any of the above, so consider other relevant guidance for that. Some cases regarding to the cryptocurrency are usually obtained by purchasing or receiving them or buying from cryptocurrency holding companies as a peer-to-peer or behalf of. They can be received directly from the cryptography by using a lot of equations, solved a lot of equations, but it does need more or a huge amount of processors, will take time and money, and that will cause in lots of foil and lots of oil and gas industry, which is affected by producing huge machines to produce more cryptocurrencies in one country. Because there's a lot of equations should be solved before we produce one cryptocurrency. So we'll consume a lots of oil and lots of oil and gas. Maybe this not a green technology for the environment because consuming a lot of issues. We will talk about the relationship between cryptocurrencies and oil and gas market in the future time today, inshallah, but after the break. In exchanging for an asset or service, or they can be purchased in exchange for a fiat currency, often from the exchange that specialized in cryptocurrency. How can we consider the cryptocurrency as an auditor? So we come now to our corner as an auditor. Alternative for consideration here, can we consider it as a cash, financial assets, or other semi-cash, other investment, inventory, or intangible fixed assets? Till 2019, there is no meeting has been held in International Financial Reporting Standard because they didn't consider it as an issue need to be highlighted by the auditing services. However, recently the meeting has been held and they decided that the paragraph 11 of IAS 22 defining the financial assets, saying that it's a cash, an equity investment of another equity, contractual right to receive cash or another financial assets from another entity, contractual right to exchange financial assets or financial liabilities with another entity under particular condition, or a particular contract that will or may be settled in the entity-owned equity. So how can we consider this agenda decision which has been highlighted, the financial assets. Can we consider the cryptocurrency or digital assets as a financial assets in this terms and condition? In paragraph 11 of IAS 32, cryptocurrency in this case is not considered as a financial assets because the cryptocurrency is not a cash. So it's a coin, but not all the coin considered as a cash. The cash is the right to change, to receive, to pay for goods and services. Cryptocurrency is an equity instrument of another equity. It does not give rise to contractual rights. But now, how can we consider the cryptocurrencies? So it's not a cash, it's not a financial asset, but how can we consider it? Is that something regarding to the owner's equities? Is that contractual or intellectual property as a new ideas? So we can consider it as an inventory or consider it as a part of inventory or intangible assets, and what the rules and regulation for that. So this question will answer it after the break. 20 minutes, please, for the break, and we can make the last pray, and we'll be back again after 20 minutes from now. We will keep this slide on the screen, and if you have any question, we can discuss it later on, and we will take your opinion regarding to the cryptocurrencies. How can we consider it? How can we deal with it in the financial reporting standard and the financial statements? Thank you. We'll be back again after 20 minutes from now. Thank you, and see you later. How are you? We will continue for the second half for today. Regarding to the cryptocurrency consideration when in the financial statements, we did agree that the coins totally different than the cash because we deal with the cash. There are some requirements we need to take into consideration for that. However, the coin in paragraph A G3 of IAS 32 stated that stated that the currency cash is the financial assets. However, the coin is not a medium of exchange like cash, and is therefore the base on which all transactions are measured and recognized. As a deposit of cash with the bank, similar financial institution as a financial asset because it's represent the contractual right for the depositor to pay for the services and products and draw a check for a similar instruction against the balance in favor of creditors' payment. The description of cash in IAS 32 implies that cash is expected to be used in a medium of exchange. However, we cannot consider that in terms of when it's come to the coins. Some cryptocurrencies can be used as exchange for particular goods and services, but for those people who are trusted in one blockchain members and currently used as a medium of exchange beside the military units in pricing goods and services to such an extent that it would be the base on which all transactions are measured and recognized in the financial statements. Based on that, holding a cryptocurrency is not a cash, but we can consider it as inventory if some circumstances have been made or intangible assets. Based on this framework of IAS 2 applies to inventories of intangible assets, hold for sale. So the holding companies of cryptocurrencies, they hold the cryptocurrencies or digital assets for their side or other people on behalf of other people to resell it again once the price is higher or sell it when the price is low. So hold for sale in the ordinary course of business, and we have to make sure that this company's core business mainly for exchanging and buying and selling cryptocurrency as a holding companies. In the process of production for sale or in the form of material or supplier to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of services. An entity may hold cryptocurrency for sale in this case we can consider this cryptocurrency, which has been bought in order to resell it again in the future time, as a considered inventory issues. But in this case, we have to make sure that the companies has a clear marketing plan, an advertising plan, and selling plan for this cryptocurrencies in the future time to consider it as an inventory issues because they will sell it again. So that will consider as a course of business for this company. If they have a marketing plan for cryptocurrencies in the future time or selling in the future time, an expectation for the price, so their course of action or ordinary course of action is selling and bought and purchase cryptocurrencies. Accordingly, the entity would apply the guidance in IAS to when accounting for that holding, the company or cryptocurrency holding issues. So in this case, we will consider it as an inventory But furthermore, we have to make sure that there is a clear marketing plan regarding to the cryptocurrency issues. An entity may also act as a broker or trader of cryptocurrencies. So they sell for their side or other people's side. In this circumstances, the entity considered the requirements in paragraph 3B of IAS 2 for community broker trader. We consider this cryptocurrency as a goods or a product or digital product, as a broker trader who measure their inventory at fair value less cost to sell. So this fair value will consider the commodity or cryptocurrency as a digital commodity for the future time, and they can sell it in less cost to sell. In paragraph 5 of IAS 2, stated that brokers trader are those who buy or sell any type of commodity and other or for their side or other people account in behalf of them. So this their own core business. The inventory refers to the paragraph 3B are principally required when the purpose of selling in the near future, when the price is high, so they can resell it again. So they kept in their company's accounts and online accounts and resell it again in the future. So we will consider as an online inventory or inventories. So this digital inventories. So consider in this as a digital stock, and this cryptocurrency stock will, first of all, we will consider this cryptocurrency stock as there is a clear marketing plan for the future time. Otherwise, this consideration as a digital stock will not consider a digital stock unless they have a clear marketing plan. If there is no clear marketing plan, so the core business or the ordinary course of business is not for buying and selling cryptocurrencies. And the case of description, the company is not holding cryptocurrency for sale to other or others in its ordinary course of action, or acting as a commodity broker trader. Therefore, inventory wouldn't be an appropriate classification in this case. So if they sell or buy or sell cryptographies, any type of cryptocurrencies for their side or other people's side or in behalf of them, they are holding companies or a broker trader. So in this case, we have to consider the digital product or digital commodity as an appropriate digital stock or inventory. So in this case, we have a company could trade in more than one cryptocurrency, like Ethereum in properties and real estate related coin, crypto coins, or we will consider it as other trading companies, which is the broker trader which deal with some types of cryptocurrencies, but mainly for bitcoins. But both of them, we will consider this type of cryptocurrency as a digital stock or digital product or inventory product of this company. So they didn't have any warehouse unless they have an online cryptocurrency with coding issues. Intangible assets, the IAS 38 applies in accounting for all intangible assets except intangible assets that are within the scope of another standards. Financial assets, because we will not consider the financial instrument and financial assets as digital assets. Recognition and measurement of exploration and evaluation assets, and expenditure on the development and extraction of the mineral or oil and natural gas or any rentier resources. The cryptocurrency has no physical attributes, so in this issues, we can open the gate for consider it as intangible assets like software, like goodwill, or any intellectual properties. So according to the cryptocurrency, they didn't have any physical shape, or we can't touch them. So also the inventory of this cryptocurrency for holding and trading broker trader companies or holding companies, they consider it as a digital stock or digital inventory. So we did not have a physical shape which could consume a place or height, weights, and weight, unless it's being held for sale, an ordinary course of business. And there is, how can we decide the ordinary course of business or the core of business? By having a clear documentation regarding to the future marketing plan. In the case described, the cryptocurrency will not be held for sale or as a course of action or business. Therefore, it will be accounted as intangible assets, as a fixed assets, but intangible assets. And this kind of intangible assets, they have impairment and depreciation for that within a defined lifetime. For sale consideration or fair value consideration for crypto assets or cryptocurrencies, the fair value hierarchy is in International Financial Reporting Standard number 13. The fair value of cryptocurrency might accounted for financial statements. The fair value might be needed in a variety of situations, including inventory held by a broker trader, cryptographic assets classified in intangible assets, revenue from the perspective of ICO issuers, and disclosing the fair value for cryptographies or digital assets. If we consider it as an expenses for third-party services paid for the cryptocurrency assets, the cryptographic assets classified as intangible assets will the expenses for employee services paid for in cryptographic assets. The cryptographic assets required a business combination, and they hold for cryptographic assets held by the investment fund, either measured in fair value or for which value or which fair value is disclosed. This diagram could satisfy the approach to determine the valuation of the cryptocurrency assets, the CA, crypto assets, or digital assets, DA. That will explain that if there is a reasonably reliable trading data available, so we can rely on this data in general. If not, we have to have another direct or indirect observation input exists, IFRS number 13. If yes, the company using the largest exchange of trading volume, and if yes, here if we have the largest exchange by trading volume, we have to have a frequently and volume of crypto assets to normal transaction or fair transaction of this largest issue. If no, so the frequency and volume of cryptocurrency to fair assets of all market that the company has access to the sufficient. So this diagram will evaluate and will determine the cryptocurrency assets and the level of consideration in the financial assets format. How do Bitcoin price fluctuation of the price rising up and down, and this fluctuation is very harsh and reached up to 64 or more $1,000 and reduced from the reduction of 3,000 or less than 2,000 in 2019. Actually, in 2019, there is a reduction made by this cryptocurrencies after reaching up with 22,000 and then reached down to 2,800, and then after the post-COVID-19 reached up to 64,000 for the market. How do this Bitcoin, especially the cryptocurrency, which is the Bitcoin price, only the Bitcoin in particular, this fluctuation will affect the crude oil market for that? There is a study has been handled in 2021, revealed by empirical evidence that a simulation, a Bitcoin price map, and fluctuation of Bitcoin make a sudden crash in Bitcoin prices is considered as an assessment on the impact of different crude oil prices, especially the crude oil prices, not all the refined oil market, but the crude oil price could be related to the fluctuation and the sudden shock higher and lower of Bitcoin. From the empirical evidence, using a day-to-day closing prices of Bitcoin and 4 measures of crude oil price from September 26, 2013 to September 20, 2019, those 6 years approximately, suggested that the Bitcoin price collapse has a significant impact on crude oil prices and thus on oil exporting countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, Russia, and USA. Especially for the crude oil price. And this is relationship we can consider and reveal that this study revealed that there is currently a strong relationship and a positive relationship between the price of Bitcoin and those prices of crude oil market, and also the sudden impact also of the Bitcoin, especially the Bitcoin, because there's an increasing number worldwide, especially in the GCC country, because they have a lot of cash, can buy and sell this cryptocurrencies. So this sudden increase and decrease for whatever the reason is totally related positively, going up, and the price of crude oil will going up as well. If the Bitcoin going down, the price for crude oil going down. As if you could witness that in 2016 there is starting oil price reduction in 2016, 2017, and at that time similarly and simultaneously there is another reduction in Bitcoin exactly, and they reached, I do remember in 2017, reached down from 22 till reached 2,800 and 600, 2,000 and 1,800, and then going up again, and this very sudden increase of Bitcoin during the oil market also get up. That will explain how strong the positive correlation and association between the two type of commodities, because we consider here the cryptocurrency as a normal commodities, but in digital shape. This digital shape will have a crude oil market as well. On the other hand, we can consider the producing cryptocurrency is not a green or a clean technology, because we have to use a lot of crude oil market, crude oil, to produce more cryptocurrencies in this shape. And these cryptocurrencies will consume lots of crude oil. I think the Islamic Republic of Iran start to produce more cryptocurrency, but they use a lots of crude oil, and that will raise the demand for crude oil barrels to be consumed in producing more cryptocurrencies in this case. Another issue regarding to the, this is for the cryptocurrencies. To what extent we could suffer from using money laundering scenarios and fraud scenario by using the cryptocurrencies as well, because the source of fund, however, is not a cash, but they consume lots of cash in order to buy or sell cryptocurrencies without any intermediaries. And in that case, that will be a good reason to clear the source of fund based on these issues. So those people who are trusted the blockchain could buy or use this illegal money to invest it in producing or buying lots of cryptocurrencies, and these cryptocurrencies could use in another digital money laundering issues by using the source of cryptographies or cryptographic issues. Back again to the money laundering issues and the law of UEE from legality issues and regulatory ecosystem and environment. There is a list of violation, and a stipulated fine has been recently added to those people who did not have the customer due diligence and applying for suspicious transaction has been made in their own issues. And this is related to our topic for today: how can we report any suspicious transaction could affect the company or the customer who are dealing with the cryptocurrencies, and how can we know those type of digital transactions. But let me explain to you how can we explain the fine for those people who did not pay attention regarding to the future non-reporting transaction. 50%, so 50,000 dirhams up to 1 million, and which is can be doubled for 5 million in certain cases, which affect directly and badly and dramatically the national income of this country. So the fine is related to the impact of this cryptography or this fine. The scenario for money laundering issues. So the Ministry of Economy announced that the extension of a grace period for registration in its system to compete. So if we are talking about the money laundering, we are not talking about commitment. It's compliance issues, because on the other hand, if we are not competing for this type of crime and cooperating for this type of crime, there is a fine. And this fine will reach up to 5 million issues, and this extended time reached till the 31st of March 2021, and warned that companies that fail to register there is a lot of penalties, including the suspension of license and closure. So the ministry now started to give a fine for 7 lawyer companies and firms, and each one would pay around 100,000 fine on 7 law firms for conducting to violate anti-money laundering issues and counter terrorism financing measures in accordance with the provisions of financial or federal law number 20 of 2018. The measures are a part of the UAE continuous and extensive effort to address the fraud risk associated with financial crimes. In response to these measures, the law 193 firms, law firms have measured to rectify their compliance shortcoming, leading the Ministry of Justice to lift suspicious measures imposed previously upon them. So they didn't pay attention regarding to this issues regarding to the money laundering. So all of those firms of law services has been entitled to pay 100,000 for the government. Otherwise, you have to pay attention regarding to all of those due diligence issues, and that will affect a part of the fine. They will affect their reputation as well in the future time, especially here in the UAE. This is a black point in their future reputation issue. The Minister of Economy has extended the grace period till the 31st of March, and the main reason behind that to be more compliant regarding the anti-money laundering crimes, we need to consider four major categories of services, especially lawyer and auditors, accountant, brokers, and bankers, and also the real estate agent. Any services, concealing services, consultancy services, to be a part of the governmental representative who can able to catch and apply or report any suspicious transaction to the Ministry of Economy, and also to highlight any suspicious transaction once it's happened, to prevent the anti-money laundering or any financial crimes from being carried out, especially in the placing process, which is the most important stage of anti-money laundering. The steps to be taken in this case. Step number one, we have to register for the financial intelligence and go anti-money laundering, and following the registration issues. And then you will call on all concerned companies to establish internal policies and procedures and control to avoid any other things regarding to the anti-money laundering, financial crimes and risk. The latest move by the Ministry of Economy is the accordance with the Cabinet Resolution number 16 of 2021 regarding a list of type of violation and administrative fines for each issues, with regarding to combating money laundering and terrorist finance and any other crimes, not only for the anti-money laundering, but any other financial crime. The list including 26 type of violation. We have added recently or yesterday 36 financial transaction, suspicious financial transaction, and the fine for them. In a statement of Ministry of Economy announced the extension of the grace, considering the competing issues or the compliance for all of those firms, and take it serious for the future time, especially in post-COVID-19 till the 2025. Maybe there is a lot of shapes and scenarios of anti-money laundering framework. The money laundering is a separated crime than the subsequent issues and results of this financial crimes. And there is a lot of parties and actors in this just only one crime. Any person having the knowledge, not in purpose, make it intention, just only having the knowledge that the fund are proceeds of felony or misdemeanor, and who will fully committed or any of the following acts, shall be considered as a preparator, facilitator of the crime of money laundering issues. What is the behavior? So we are now talking about the behavior issues. Transferring, exchange, transporting, depositing, safekeeping, investing, just only having the knowledge, having some ideas. and transforming proceeding of the crime or managing the same, aiming to conceal or to consult or disguise their unlawful source, concealing or disguising the true nature, source, fund, or location of the procedure, as well as the method involving their disposition, pressuring, or sign the procedures. The crime of anti-money laundering is considered as a separate crime, and punishment of the operator or preparator for the commission of the original crime shall not prevent that he or she shall be punished for the crime of money laundering. In order to prove the property is concealing of the crime, it shall not be necessary that there be convenient for the crime. So it's very dangerous to consider how committed we are in order to be one of those people who help preventing all of those type of crimes, because it's this type of crimes is considering all type of behaviors which make these stages come true or fulfilling all of those stages, especially the first stage, placing. It's very easy and very hard afterward to prevent the process. The fund. Assets of every kind, whether tangible or intangible, so we can consider the cryptocurrency as one of those type of funds. The fund is not a money or cash or financial assets or assets, maybe tangible assets. So we have to make sure about accepting or receiving, giving the permission for any unknown or unlawful source of fund coming from digital assets. Movable or immovable, including national currency, foreign currency, and also the digital currency as well. Documents or debts in any form, including electronic, digital evidencing title to or interest in, such as the meaning of fund, offensive to which money laundering related activities carried out when respect, and also conviction for the predicate offense is not conditioned to providing illicit source of fund. Any procedures driven from the obtaining directly or indirectly, knowing or unknowing, through the commission of felony or misdemeanor. There is a lot of reporting has been issued regarding to the anti-money laundering. If the financial institution suspect or has reasonable ground to support that fund are the process of criminal activity, of a criminal activity, or are related to terrorist financing, it should be required by law to report promptly. And look at the word promptly. We discussed it yesterday. How can we report it? It is something regarding to the indicators or behavior or the client, him or herself. So promptly, how can we answer the question in the report, describing the event, where, when, how, and why it's suspicious to the Financial Intelligence Unit in the Ministry of Economy through Go Anti-Money Laundering, and you will receive the Financial Institution Unit response straight away once you make it confidentially. And there is no issues regarding to the reporter for this transaction. The issue in case of there is something wrong happened and we found that you are not cooperative by having at least a folder of anti-money laundering crime and making any reporting and a plan for reporting. So you have to have intention, saying that in case of something wrong happened, I will do the report a lot of issues regarding to the future issues. So in this lecture, I want to share with you some issues regarding to reporting fraud of anti-money laundering. As we shared before, but that will summarize the profile that you will use in order to face this type of crime by more intelligent and more intention that you are committed to deliver a report once something wrong happened. So you have to have this type of file, which is enabling macro, so you can able to use the steps in order to have a Excel file regarding to the fraud risk management report. And you can describe what type of major rating of this type of crime, and you can classify it. So this is the folder you have to prepare in order to show that you are committed to reporting any financial crime. Not only committed by, you are competing or compliance, make a compliance regarding to the future reporting issues, and you have a heat map as a sign regarding to the future issues. Once this sign could answer the why, where, when, and how, and why questions effectively, so you can show that this rating giving you a wake-up call that you have to report it, and then you have to report to the response plan, and this response plan could be rearranged based on your type of future issues and future plan. So you can click in this button, could rearrange the source of plan and the type of risk based on the higher risk or lower risk. And in that case, this transaction could consider from B, which is behavior, as a anti-money laundering suspicious transaction. This will report who is the person who are discussing with them this issues first of all, and then once we did not have an ineffective or have effective or ineffective response, so we will consider it as suspicious transaction. And there is another example could show you how can we have this map. How can we find we can get the best issues regarding to the map? The frequency will take 5 points, and the type of the impact on the economy and the companies and the industry will take 5 as the highest. And this type of suspicious transaction should report as a future transaction. We need to deliver a complaint or a report for the Ministry of Economy. And this is an example for each one. How can we rearrange it? By using this map, we can rearrange how harsh, how dangerous this type of transaction, and how many times has been repeated by the same client or the same industry. What type? How can we consider this transaction or behavior coming from a particular industry to affect how high the rate of transaction? And finally, the control activity matrix for the report. If you have this report ready, this is something reported that you are compliant to and ready to report based on your registration. So you have to have this file. All type of financial transaction, financial crimes, including anti-money laundering and other type of anti-money laundering issues. So I do recommend if you could have your own profile, and this online profile should be kept in a safer place, more confident, more confidential, and with linked directly with the Federal Tax Authority Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Finance, with the financial intelligence unit. Once something wrong happens, you can deliver it. There is no issue regarding to this regarding for the reporter, but the issue regarding to delaying or missing reporting suspicious transaction. So all of those four categories: buyer or seller of real estate, managing of client money, securities, or other assets, including digital assets, management of banks, saving, organization of contribution for creation, operation, or management of companies, creation and operating of management of real person who work in behalf of or work in the company or arrangement, and buying and selling of business entity. So all of those categories should report any financial transaction or suspicious transaction in the future time. This is all about the our topic for today. We started with the how can we make a good resilience, take into consideration cybersecurity issues after the pandemic or epidemic could transform into a pandemic issues. Take into consideration there is an increase rate has been massively increased and significantly increased by 3,000 or 38,000% soon after the pandemic, and take into consideration the form and reimagination and reforming issues, materiality and going concern, revisiting the auditing issues, very important as well, and take into consideration all of those points. Finally, I do recommend to have a profile for your office available with your secured device, updating all the information with the date to wash your hand from any things or any issue has been raised by the customer, showing to the Ministry of Economy and the Intelligence Financial Unit that you are committed to apply for anything which may happen in the future, and you have organized and very tidy documentation for the future time. Any question for the gentlemen who are with us at the moment? Any question regarding to this information? I would be more than happy to receive it now. Okay, Mr. Alfred, if you have any question, I will be more than happy to receive it. Any comments, any issue?
All is very clear.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alfred. Our consultant here, Mr. Alfred, we are always happy and welcome you at any time to share with us your valuable ideas regarding to our topics. Any other question, please? Any other comment, feedback, anything that you need to share with us, please?
Thank you very much, Doctor, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tariq, and enjoyed the session today. Inshallah, see you tomorrow.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.